like a circle in a spiral, like a wheel within a wheel, never ending or beginning, like the circles that you find in the windmills of your mind.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Stogie Geek Show. This segment is sponsored by Debonair Cigars. Visit stogiegeeks.com/debonair for a list of retailers. We're going to talk about cigar gift giving. And this is, you know what's interesting? Well, I have a kind of a little story about cigar gift giving. I was in Mr. J's Havana Smoke Shop talking to Stogie Santa, visiting with them, picking up some smokes, and there was a woman there who wanted to buy some pipe tobacco. And it was just awesome to watch Stogie Santa in action. He's so awesome with the customers.
He really is.
And you know, he was telling her to buy their most popular cigar pipe tobacco blend. And he had this other one that was like a butter something blend. It was kind of flavored, and she was like, "How much?" And she very much cared about the person she was giving the gift to. Pipe tobacco isn't very expensive. She ended up picking up a couple of ounces. You know, it's like $16 or whatever for a couple of ounces of pipe tobacco, and it was just a great experience. And you know, I was kind of telling her like, yeah, I've tried that pipe tobacco. I really like it. I said, you know, I think it makes a great gift, and you know, how to store it and that kind of thing. And you know, it was clear she put a lot of thought in and made the trek down to pick up some pipe tobacco for her. I don't know whoever she was buying for. So that was it was a really cool kind of experience. We all said Merry Christmas at the end, so pretty cool.
Yeah. Yeah, you know, and we get it, you know, you don't have to be a cigar expert or connoisseur, but if you are a cigar smoker, you know, a lot of times you're going to get, if someone knows you smoke cigars, someone's going to come and they're going to ask you, hey, I'm buying a cigar for someone, you know, what should I buy him?
Yeah, it's a big question this time of year.
Yeah, and you know, I look at, you know, there's a few, you know, I always kind of say, you know, again, kind of being debonair about it, you know, you want to try to have some information about the person. And, you know, in terms of usually I'll say how much you want to spend. Do you know what they smoke? And do you know maybe how often they smoke? And I usually will factor those three things in because chances are they're not going to know specific. If you ask them if they're a mild or medium or full, they're not going to know the answer. But chances are if someone's smoking occasionally, you know, like once a month and just likes to have a box, you know, you're not going to go give them a box of double Ligeros, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So, you know, you factor all those things into it, and I find that, you know, you can usually guide someone. Either you can, maybe a good thing is, hey, offer to make some suggestions or even go into the store. Or, you know, again, if you know a good tobacconist like a Stogie Santa, who, you know, I tell you what, I know you know, he's part of this show's family here. But you see him in action, it's legit.
Yeah,
I mean,
like, dude,
personal attention to everybody.
He is one of the best at
He really
helping
is.
customers find the right gift for someone. You know, he'll ask how often do they smoke? Do you know like what they like to smoke? If not, even just knowing how often, he'll steer them in the right direction. Retailers carry a bunch of different cigar sampler packs, and I tell you what, you can't go wrong with a Padron sampler pack. Someone recently gifted me a Padron 1926 sampler for a gift. And even being, you know, whether you're a new cigar smoker, that might be a little strong for you, but, you know, any kind of cigar smoker is going to love to have a Padron gift set. And we're by no means associated with, you know, or sponsored by Padron, but that's like one of my #1 gift sets to buy for people because it has just such a broad spectrum of people that it will appeal to. And just fantastic cigars, and even the deepest of Stogie geeks will appreciate a 1926 sampler. I mean, it's just an awesome sampler.
Absolutely. You know, it's something, you know, again, you know, it's not necessarily a box of 20 or 25,
Yeah,
but
exactly.
it's, you know, but it's that special occasion cigar that you can, you know, light up and it can last you, you know, if you're a once a month smoker, even it can last you half the year.
Absolutely. So yeah, choosing the right gift, I think that the debonair thing to do is to find the right retail tobacconist in your local area to help you pick the right gift. And I think even just a lot of wives and girlfriends that make the trek to the tobacconist to buy cigars for their significant other is a very debonair thing to do. Like that's really cool. And I think also a debonair component of that is people who work in the cigar shops like Stogie Santa that really truly help people find gifts for their significant others and do a great job at that. It really kind of is the spirit of the year. So
Absolutely. Totally agree.
let's get into our Stogies of the week, Will.
That sounds good.
I'm going to start with you.
All right. And actually, it was kind of I kind of said for me, it was a little bit of a slower week. I actually went some time without smoking, which is very rare. But I had a bunch of commitments family wise, but I did get some. You know me, I'm always gonna get some smokes in there. I'm gonna start off. I got a chance to smoke the La Palina Black. And I'd actually started smoking these a couple weeks ago. La Palina's latest release that they regular production line they released here is the La Palina Black. It was launched at the trade show. It kind of started shipping this fall. Really, really beautiful looking cigar. I have a picture of it in the Stogie feed. They're making this cigar with PDR cigars down in the DR. So it's actually the second line that La Palina is doing with PDR. This one, the other one's a La Palina Classic. This one's it's designed to be a more fuller cigar, first of all, and it's designed to be a little more on the premium side. I wouldn't say it's ultra premium, but it's around that $9 to $10 price point. But I mentioned it's a beautiful looking cigar. It's got this Brazilian Bahiano wrapper, and it's got a mix of Dominican and Nicaraguan fillers underneath there. Um, Overall, it was a real enjoyable cigar. It had some notes of cocoa, citrus. It had a cedar sweet spice and white pepper. I'd say early on you got more of the cocoa sweetness, and then in the second half you got more of that cedar and citrus in there. I love the retrohale on this cigar. When you retrohale, it had a multi-dimensional. You got some of the sweetness through the nasal passages as well as some of the spice on it. Um, I'd say it was a full-bodied smoke for sure, but not an overpowering nicotine bomb either. It was probably like medium plus in terms of strength there. Um, I had a couple of burn issues. I wouldn't say it's Paul syndrome.
Mm.
It may have been because these kind of came into my local shop, Union Cigars, kind of quickly. So it was just a little more touch-ups I had to do than normal. But I'd still give this a box split. I think I think La Palina is doing some great, great lines. I think this one's going to do real well for them.
Very cool. I smoked a CLE signature. This was like a Corona Gorda size. It was very good, I have to say. In terms of cigars released this year, we're going to get to that in the next segment, and I smoked this one on purpose. It's up there. Kind of a little spoiler. It didn't make the list. I would say it's an honorable mention. These cigars are very good. I would call this one kind of a box split. I think the different sizes all smoke very differently. It's a nice medium-bodied smoke. I have to say, Will, it didn't wow me as much as it did when I first smoked it.
It didn't wow me either when I first smoked it. When I first smoked it, I liked it better, but I got to agree with you on that.
Really? So it's kind of interesting as time goes on. It's okay. So we're on the same page on that. That's interesting.
Yeah, yeah. Like I said, there were folks who have been really raving about it. And it was a good cigar. Don't get me wrong; it's a cigar I'd recommend. I smoked the Robusto. I haven't smoked any other size but the Robusto, though.
Mm-hmm. I also smoked a 1502 Emerald in, I believe, the Toro size. This is a very good blend. I think they did a fantastic job with this blend. I would call this one slightly above a fiver. It's kind of in between a fiver and a box split for me. It's a very easygoing kind of smoke at any time of the day kind of thing. Really, really good smoke. I've had great luck with burn, draw, construction, good flavors in these cigars. And again, it kind of lands in between that fiver and box split for me in terms of a rating.
Yep.
Back to you, Will.
I smoked a new cigar by Espinosa Cigars called the La Laranja Reserva in the Corona Gorda. This is a Brazilian wrapper release by Espinosa. So it's a Brazilian Laranja wrapper, which gets its name because it's got this orange tint to it. Laranja means orange in Portuguese. And it's over Nicaraguan binder and filler, and it's made at Eric Espinosa's La Zona factory. It's a 5 out of 5/8 by 46, so it's a classic Corona Gordo with 990 price point. I'll be honest, when at the trade show they launched this, and I I just wasn't wowed by it. I was kind of real concerned about this. I started talking to a lot of people though in the business. I talked to Steve Saka, mentioned he loved this stick, and Abe from Smoke Inn said he loved this stick. But I don't know maybe my palate was shot at the show. I have recently, I went back and revisited it, and I kind of get, maybe it was just, again, either my palate was shot or it was a young cigar. This cigar was smoking a hell of a lot better. Now, if you look at the picture on the Stogie feed, you look at that wrapper and you look at that band, it's all orange. I mean, this is orange, orange. And when I smoked it, I got orange flavor. So I'm like, all right, this is my mind playing tricks on me. Again, power suggests it can't be. Well, I started talking to a few other guys at the media. I talked to Seth, and they're all saying, no. They think I wasn't imagining this, that you're getting orange. And I spoke to a few of these. So I definitely got some orange in there. A little bit of nut, red pepper. There's some earth and cream. So there's some other notes you'll get, but there's definitely an orange note there. And it had some strengths to this cigar. It was medium plus, almost pushing on full strengths, and the flavors were very heavy on the palate, so it was a full-bodied smoke. And it kind of, like I said, a lot of that strength and body sneaks up on the back nine, the end of the cigar. Again, the cigar came a long way since IPCPR. I put it now at a box split. I don't think it's going to go any higher in my book with it, but you never know. But I think right now it's smoking very well. And I think I got one of these for you, Paul, so I got to get you that.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yep.
So I smoked one by Robert Caldwell. It's a perfecto-sized cigar called the Gibraltar.
Gibraltar. Yes.
Is that how you say that? Gibraltar.
Yep, that is one of his junior varsity cigars, it's meant to be more of an entry price point into his line.
Yeah. It was a good cigar. I like the shape. I love the small perfecto. It actually is a very similar shape to like a Davidoff Claro short perfecto kind of size, and also the J Grotto perfecto, very similar in size to those two cigars. It's a good cigar. I would call it a fiver. It had some great flavors. It really, like, after you kind of reach almost a halfway point, it really kicks up in strength. Which was kind of surprising because it starts off medium-bodied and then really kicks up in strength. And it has good flavor, and I would rate it a fiver. I think you did a good job with this cigar.
Yeah, it's kind of where I rated most of those junior varsities in that area. It's a good price point, quality cigar.
It's funny. I bought this from Stogie Santa at Mr. J's Havana Smoke Shop, and he was like, it's probably not going to blow your mind, but he's like, it's a good smoke. And he was spot on in his assessment of this cigar.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's compared to the Caldwell Collection cigars, which I have one I'll talk about. I would agree with that. Yeah. But I don't think it's intended to be. I think, like I said, it's meant to reach a different segment of the market.
I went back and smoked a Joya de Nicaragua Cuatro Cinco cigar, which was a new release this year. This cigar is much better than when it first came out. So some time in your humidor has done this cigar a lot of good. It's a much smoother. You pick up a lot more of the flavors because of the age on this cigar. I would still rate this between a fiver and a box split. I hate to call out like an in-between rating on two cigars on this show, but that's where I'm calling it. I definitely appreciated this cigar much more. What I noticed in my assessment, Will, is this still has some aging potential, in my opinion. And I think it was when we had Nick Malello on the show that he talked about this blend, or no, it wasn't Nick.
It may have been Juan Martinez.
It was Juan Martinez. And that's one of the reasons I wanted to go back and smoke it. This is a great blend. Joya de Nicaragua did a great job with this cigar. And I think it's a solid smoke, and it's slowly getting better as it ages in my humidor. So, I'll revisit this in another 6 months or so. And I expect, my prediction is it's going to move right into that box split rating.
Wow. See, I was with you. I thought it was. I mean, I didn't want to tell Juan, but I thought it was a big miss, and it definitely was young, and I didn't know if it was going to get any better because
No, go
I haven't
back and
smoked one
smoke it,
since
dude.
about
Yeah.
April.
Yeah, they did a nice job with this. Go back and smoke it. It just needs age.
Right.
Yeah. Back to you, Will.
So this one's not in my feed, but I'll put it in there. I smoked the Robert Caldwell cigar as well. I smoked that King is Dead the last payday.
That's not
Uh,
the no wait, that's not the Connecticut because I smoked the Connecticut is line finally in like a Corona Gorda size.
Okay, and that Connecticut's, I can't wait to hear about that
Okay.
because there's some real differences from size to size with that one.
Okay.
Yeah. Um, but the King is Dead is that uses that unique, it's called the Negrito wrapper. So it's kind of like a chocolatey wrapper. It's not one. Normally, what Roberts told me is, and he's told everyone, I don't want to say he told me, but it's a wrapper that normally doesn't play well. So they don't blend with it a lot. But apparently, he came across it at Tabacalera Ventura. And I had smoked a couple of these sizes, and I know I talked with Stogie Santa on this, and he was saying, well, kind of a miss, kind of a miss. And I said, I had actually smoked this in the Torpedo, and I said, which is the last payday size, it's called. And I said, you got to go back and smoke this thing in the Torpedo, because I think it's a big difference. And so I smoked it again this week, and I really, really like this cigar. It's got this milk chocolate. It's got a creamy finish on it. You get some of the cedar, sweet spice along it. It kind of changes up quite a bit, so these flavors are going to interchange. It's not going to be it's not going to, it's good. If you like transitions in a cigar, you'll get it. And they're kind of the transitions are very smooth and subtle. So I think it worked out real well with that. It put it as a medium strength cigar, so it's not as strong as Long of the King. It's not as mild as the Eastern Standard. Um, I wouldn't have probably put any of this other cigars in this line a box worthy, but this Torpedo is definitely a box worthy cigar in my book. I think kind of going back looking at the year, there's been a lot of good torpedoes that came out this year, and I'm not usually a torpedo guy.
Mm.
This is one of the good torpedoes. So even if you've tried some of the things and say it wasn't for me, I go back and encourage you to try the torpedo with that.
I smoked the Caldwell Sevanilla.
That's that's
Sevillano?
their okay. That's not the Eastern Standard. That's the other junior varsity Connecticut. It's got the white band on it.
It's a Sevillana Super Sport.
Yeah,
This
it's
is a Sevillana Super Sport 5.75 by 41 Ecuadorian Connecticut.
What'd you think of it?
It's very, the wrapper's very kind of rustic, in my opinion.
It's a weathered Connecticut
It
wrapper.
is weathered. That's a very good description of it, Will.
Yeah,
In fact, one of the ones I had it has like this little pigtail cap, and one of the ones I had, like the pigtail cap, it fell off. But no, I'm not knocking the cigar in any way, shape, or fashion. Like, that's just the characteristics of the cigar. When you smoke it, you kind of get little like bits of tobacco that kind of fall off. It takes a little while to kind of settle out from that. But once you start smoking it, it's got a lot of character for a Connecticut, and that really impressed me about the cigar, Will. The flavors, I think, are very, very good. It's got what I really look for in a Connecticut, it has in terms of that creamy component.
Yep.
And that's what I look for in the morning when I smoke a Connecticut, is that creamy component. And it had that. And this size was very good. And I only smoked one of them. I have another one in my humidor. I'm going to smoke another one. But I tell you what, in a box of 10, in my price online that I'm looking at on an online retailer is $46. Dude, I would smoke this all day long. This cigar is box worthy. Now I'm going to factor price into my box worthy rating. If you like to smoke a Connecticut in the morning, pick up a box of these. I think he did a fantastic job blending this cigar, and the flavors are very, very good. It has an excellent smoking experience, and I would work this into my regular morning smoke rotation. And I smoked a lot of Ecuadorian Connecticut's this year. And next year, I think in our beginning show, I may talk about some of my favorite Ecuadorian Connecticut's to kind of tease it out. But this one was really good. I like this one a lot, a lot.
I actually talked about this one on the show a while ago, and I actually smoked it in the 60 the 60 ring
Yeah,
gauge.
I can see it working in that, dude.
And it was, I mean, I've talked about how Ecuador and Connecticut usually falls down with a 60 ring gauge.
It does.
Not this one. I had it as a
Yeah.
box split, and everything you
I'm
said,
telling you.
it's not going to redefine what a Connecticut's going to
No,
be.
but it's a
It's
solid morning smoke for the
it's a
price,
solid
dude.
morning smoke, and especially if you're a big ring gauge person and you want that morning smoke. Like I said, this is a 60 ring gauge. Again, you're looking at that five. I think for the 60, it's probably going to be a little over $5, closer to $6. I'd check it out as well.
Now, we've interviewed Robert on the show, and I tell you what, he's a great guy, and he really, really paid attention and put a lot of work into blending this cigar to make it what it is and produce it at that price point. I think it's fantastic.
Well, it's. I mean, I'm gonna try to get him back on the show next year. I had a chance to meet with him in Greensboro at the end of the summer, and this is a cigar geek, and this guy cares about every. I think I was mentioning once how he was pulling sticks off the table because he just. I didn't think there was anything
Yeah.
wrong with them. He just felt they weren't up to his quality,
Yeah.
and he was replacing them. So
Great job.
this guy, yeah, a great guy, and he's a cigar geek.
Now, I'll tell you what, I was talking to John Carney before the show, and we were talking about Connecticut's and Cameroons, because he handed me a Cameroon before the show, and I said, you know what, dude, it's funny. I said, in the morning, I've been reaching for Cameroons. We did that segment on Cameroon. They got some rave reviews, and thank you to all our listeners who sent us feedback on that.
Yeah.
So I've been reaching for some Cameroons. I smoked a La Aurora Preferidos Cameroon. I think this is the number 2. And I've been a huge fan of this blend. And of course, we went through the blending seminar with Manuel. So I can tell you with certainty that the fillers on this one are Peruvian, Bahia from
Brazilian.
Brazil,
Yep.
Nicaraguan and Dominican. I want to say the binder was Dominican. Is that what he said in the blending seminar?
I think so.
believe
I'm
the
not
blind
remembering
binder's
that one.
Dominican. I may be wrong on that.
Okay.
And then they wrap it, of course, in all the different wrappers, and one being Cameroon. And we smoked the number 3 in the blending seminar, which was phenomenal. I mean, that one is box worthy all day long for me. The number two is a little larger, and the number 1 is even larger than that. And it's becoming one of my most favorite Cameroons, dude. It's almost one of my favorites in this Preferido line. It really is. I mean, this cigar is just fantastic in the morning. It's just, and the blending seminar probably tainted my view in a positive way of this cigar because I got to smoke all the different components. So now when I go back and I smoke this blend, I'm like, wow, I can really kind of pick out like what's going on in this. And that's not just because of the blending seminar. You can go back in the Stogie Geeks archive and hear us talk about the La Aurora Preferido blend and how awesome it is. In fact,
Yep.
you can listen to an episode where Stogie Santa says the Preferido number 3, which is the smallest one. I want to say the 3 is smaller, right? I always forget.
I think the 3 is the small
Stogie
one.
Santa smoked the Preferido number 3 in a Maduro with some age on it and said it was one of the best cigars he's ever smoked in his life. And I get it. I really get a more appreciation for that now over time. And this cigar is just awesome. I mean, it's kind of displacing a lot of other cigars that I like to reach to in the morning. Because I know I can always pick this one up and it's going to deliver. It's got a true Cameroon wrapper on it, and it has that sweetness. It's just awesome. It's just awesome.
Yeah, and I think we got to give some props to, Havana Cigar Club. They are really one of the premier, they're our sponsor, but they're one of the premier La Aurora retailers in the country. And
Absolutely.
Todd's got a good relationship with La Aurora. I mean, Manuel was in there, but there's some great cigars that come out of that factory.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Back to you, Will.
So I'm starting to make my way through the Avo Greatest Hits sampler, and
I wanna hear
I was
it
a little
too.
bit inspired to start going through this because I made a trip to Orlando this weekend to see my son, and we went over to Corona Cigars because there was Jonathan Drew and Marvin Samuel were there that night, and in walks Avo, who's a regular at Corona Cigars.
Wow.
Now Avo is pushing 89, and he's slowing down. But I had a chance to, talk with Avo and just and he's still smoking cigars. He's the life of the party. I saw Avo light up a Kentucky fire-cured flying pig. Marvin gave him that. I saw that, and
Oh, that's
it was a
hilarious.
great thing to see.
That's a really cool
So
story, dude.
yeah. So but it was great to see Avo. And so I've been inspired to start going through this. And the Avo Greatest Hits sampler. I know Paul, you've really been doing a good job going through that. You've been going forward, right? So I'm gonna
I
go
started
backward.
oldest to newest.
Yeah, I'm going newest to oldest, right? So I'm going to
Okay,
go
good,
backwards
good.
here, and I skipped the 14 because I want to save that one for last. So I
Yep.
started with the 13. The dominant 13. Actually, was one of I loved that dominant 13 that came out. It was that 6x52
And
Toro.
that's the one that came in the piano box.
No, that's not the one that came in the piano box. That's the 25th.
Okay. So what's the
This is the
what was
one
the
that came with the
13?
music book.
Which one was the 13, Will?
The 13 is the one that came with a music book.
The music book. In,
Right, and you got the little USB drive with Avo music on it.
and did it have the small little things of tobacco, kind of like a flute kind of thing, or is that a different one?
I think that's a different one.
Okay.
Yeah, but the 13 was a real nice cigar. I happen to always I love that cigar last year. It's a Ecuador Habano 2000 wrapper. It's got Dominican and Peruvian filler. And it's using that Yamasa wrapper, which I've talked a lot about on the show, which is Davidoff's. It's proprietary tobacco that Davidoff's growing in this Yamasa region that they're using on all their limiteds, like the Madison Avenue. They used it on Year of the Horse, so it's on the. So if you're looking at Davidoff limited editions, the 25th, they're using this on all
Yeah.
their special
I'm
cigars. But this was
sorry. The one that came in the piano box was the La Trompeta from 2012.
was that a piano box? I'm not sure. I'll trust you on that.
Now I'm looking at Cigar Coupe.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's the one
So
with the little circle tobaccos in it. Yeah.
okay. Yeah, it's got the little like it's got the
Yeah,
little.
yeah.
Yeah, that's the
That's the Trompeta
Bellicosa.
2012. You
Yeah,
smoked
it's
the
a
2013, the dominant. Okay.
yeah, yep. I tell you what, this cigar is I actually thought this smoked a lot better. And maybe I don't know if it's from the same, if they held some over from the same batch last year, or if they recreate. Some of the blends were recreated. I imagine maybe this one they put some aside, knowing they were going to do the sampler. But it was really, really good. It had a nice chocolate. Again, it had that nice chocolate, a little bit of toasted nut. It had Paul those Davidoff herbal notes in there as well.
I like those
Uh,
Davidoff herbal notes.
yeah, and I think you get the chocolate early on. You get a little more of that herbal piece on the back end of it. Um, it's I thought it was more of a medium strength, medium to full bodied cigar. If I could get more of these and buy a box of them, it's a box worthy cigar. I love this. I love the 6x52 Toro with this. The bad thing about this sampler is you have to take it apart. And I have some
I
pictures on the
know.
Stogie feed, which is kind of just reminding me, and I'm tempted to buy another one of these, but what am I going to, the problem is, do I just keep it sealed? Because I just love looking at the boxes of those, how they're all lined up in each individual compartment there.
Very cool. Very
Yep.
cool. I smoked an Ezra Zion, the FHK.
I want to hear about this
Yeah,
one.
I thought it was a good cigar, Will. And I went back. What was the other one we smoked on the show?
The Tantrum PA.
I like the Tantrum better still. I thought
A lot of people did. I was in the
Yeah.
minority. A lot of people were in your camp.
I wasn't in your camp on the FHK. I thought it was a good cigar. I thought Kyle and oh crap, what's it?
Chris.
Kyle and Chris did a great job with both these blends. And I hate to compare them to each other because it's totally different smoke. But I like the Tantrum, the new Tantrum, better. And I smoked another Tantrum, and I'm in the Tantrum camp, dude. Like, I think the Tantrum is. Do they come in 10 count boxes, being unlimited?
I thought they said 20 something count.
So I would call it a box split at a 20
Yeah.
count on the Tantrum. I would call the FHK, for me, it was a 5er. I think if it hits your flavor profile, you're probably going to be box worthy on this cigar. I think they did a fantastic job blending both of these. And I really like their blends. And you sent me some samples of the FHK and the new Tantrum. If I had to pick between the two, it would be the Tantrum. That's no knock on the FHK. They're both solid smokes. But the Tantrum for me it's a really cool cigar.
Have you ever smoked the Little Tantrum? the 4x44 they did that was last year's Tantrum?
I don't think so.
I'll have to see if I have any around.
Yeah, I'd like to
That
smoke
I think
that.
it's different than this year. I mean, it's a different. They said the blend is slightly different. But I thought this year smoked better.
I also smoked this Fernando Leon Family Reserve in a Preferido,
Oh, you guys
number
were smoking
one.
that on the show a few weeks ago,
I
weren't you?
smoked another one, dude. Uh, and it's everything I said the first time I smoked it. This cigar is awesome, dude. It is awesome. It has such a complex flavor profile. It burns great. It's a true medium-bodied cigar that's full in flavor. I really, really like it. It's a little pricey. It's like $13 or more, or $13 to $18 or something like that. It's a little pricey for the cigar, but I think it's awesome. Really, really good cigar. Loved it, loved it, loved it. I could smoke this. The thing that gets me about this cigar is that you get that complexity. It's medium bodied, and what that means to me is you can smoke it any time of day. You can smoke this in the morning, midday, night, and still experience everything this cigar has to offer. And for me, that really takes a rating of a cigar to be very, very high. I think some of that's coupled with I haven't been a huge fan of some of the Fernando Leon and Guillermo Leon cigars that have come out. They're just not my wheelhouse. Not that they're bad cigars by any stretch of the imagination. But this size and this blend, it's on the money for my palate, dude, and I really, really liked it.
With those two blends you mentioned, more than anything, I find the size matters. They smoke
Absolutely,
very
yes.
differently. So I would agree. And the box press is another one. I think we've talked about that. The box presses will smoke different too.
Absolutely. Back to you, Will.
Um, I finally got around to smoking this cigar, and this will be in your next shipment. The CAO Columbia. If you're familiar with CAO, for years they've had the Brasilias, the Italias, and the Americas. Um, they came out with a new. This is the first one they've come out with in that series since General took them over, and it's a Columbia. It's not a Colombian Puro. So the story with this is there's actually two CAO Columbias, and because I had thought when I was talking to the guys at CAO, I said I noticed wasn't there a CAO Columbia done for some shop, and there was one done for Serious Cigars in Houston, and it was a Columbia Puro. So I said, did you guys just take it national? They said, no, this is a completely different blend. And it's not a Colombian Puro, but it uses Colombian tobacco in the filler. It's got a Hamastran Honduran wrapper. It's got a Cameroon binder. And with that, they put some Colombian filler with Brazilian Matafina. So it is a real unique blend. This is not a blend. I don't know if there's any blend using four components like that. I smoked it in the Vallenato, which is a 5 by 56 gram Robusto. And one reason why I smoked it in that size is I happen to love the Brasilia in that size. Um, the thing is, I've heard about if Colombian tobacco has a reputation for being very mild. Um, and I haven't smoked that one from Serious Cigars, which is the Puro. But this was not a mild cigar by any means. I was expecting it to smoke like air because I guess that's what I've heard about Colombian tobacco. It wasn't. It was a medium strength, medium to full bodied smoke. It had sweetness. So obviously that Cameroon binder, it actually has a bit of a lemon sweetness to it, and it has some notes of herbs. It has this grainy note, a little natural tobacco, and there's some white pepper. And towards the end, the pepper actually gets a little bit. It bites on the tongue a bit. Um, Look, I'm not gonna say it's a cigar that's gonna set the world on fire. It was a different smoke. It was at a price point of 675. It's certainly worth a fiver. I'd say it's one of those change of pace smokes. If you're just sick of smoking something that's like a cookie cutter smoke, light one of these up. I think you can smoke them any time of the day. But it's a fiver. Definitely worth checking out.
Well, I have to say that John Carney from LFD gave us this 1994, and I'm smoking that the Churchill size. Excuse me.
The Mambo.
The Mambo. Dude, it's awesome. I was saying during the break, I'm really liking this cigar. And I don't say that for every cigar that someone comes on the show or gives us or whatever. I've just been really enjoying this cigar a lot. It has a
I-
very kind of like sweet flavor to it that persists throughout. Really, really awesome.
I'm smoking mine too, and it's the combustion is phenomenal. I'm getting down to the nub with this thing. It's still very flavorful. It's come a long way from the show as well. I didn't know where this blend was going at the
Yeah.
show, but again, the trade show, IPCBR, is the worst time to smoke and review cigars. I
Yeah,
can't,
no, yeah,
and this is, I think this is gonna be, I think next year on Cigar Aficionado's list, this is gonna be very high. I think it may have not made it this year, but I just have a gut feel next year they're gonna get some serious ratings out of this cigar.
I agree. Let's see. I smoked Esteban Carreras. This is the Connecticut, the 12-year.
Okay, I hear about this one.
Good cigar. It's a good Connecticut offering. I don't think it really separated itself from the pack enough. And you know me, I smoked a lot of Connecticut's this year. It was, I would say it was a 5-er. It had good flavor, good burn draw construction. I smoked it in the Robusto size. And I thought it was good. I was kind of hoping for like a little more sweetness to it. But for me, it was a 5-er.
That's probably where I would have it. I've smoked that one before. It's not my most favorite. There's some better blends in the line, but it's not a bad cigar by any means.
Yeah. I agree. Will, back to you.
I'm out.
I think I am out as well. Why don't we do this? Do you want to take a short break? Actually,
Yeah.
I have one more. This is the La Aurora Untamed.
I want to hear what you thought of this
Yeah,
cigar.
dude, this was given to me by Manuel, gifted this to me. And I thought it was really awesome. I thought that it was a very strong cigar with an awesome, awesome flavor profile. If I were to reach for a strong cigar, like late at night, and I want something strong, typically I would reach for Opus. I would work this into my rotation for something that I would smoke at night. I thought it was that good that they could blend something this strong because, as Manuel said, he's like, we're known for not very strong cigars. They have the Cameroons and even everything in their Preferido line and other lines are kind of mild to medium. This was a fantastic strong cigar offering from La Aurora that I would reach to any night, dude. If we were hanging out, like if you were here in Rhode Island after we smoked did the show, we're like, let's go, have another smoke. I would totally light one of these up. It is an awesome, awesome cigar. I would say, to me, this is box worthy. I think they did a fantastic job blending it. And I'm not just saying that because Manuel gifted it to me. Like, that is truly my assessment of this cigar. I thought it was very, very good.
I smoked it when it was pre-release. I liked it. When I had it last time, I thought it was a 5-er in the Robusto. What size did you have?
I smoked the Robusto.
I need to go back and smoke it again. Because this time around, it just didn't smoke like when I had the pre-release. But the pre-release smoked a lot like you said.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So.
All right.
But yep.
So having said that, try the La Aurora Untamed. I had it as high as box worthy.
Wow.
I did. It
Jose Blanco was raving about that cigar to me. He really likes that cigar.
Yeah. So with that, we're going to take a short break, come back, and talk about my top 10 list for the year. So stay tuned. Don't go anywhere.
Okay.